Hello and welcome to the Nazarene Cipher. My name is Theophilus Cleft, and I'd like to welcome you to another video. Today we will be learning all about Matthew, otherwise known as Mattia. And before we get started, if you find these videos entertaining or informative, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, if you'd like to gain full access to the online version of the Nazarene Cipher, follow the link below in the comments section. Matthew, or Mattia, means the gift of Yahweh, was also called Levi, which suggests that his family came from that priestly tribe. As his father was named Alphaeus, or Alphaeus, the Hebrew translation of his name would be more like Mattia Levi ben Alphaeus. At first, the account of his conversion seems surprisingly impulsive. See Matthew 9:9. But his decision to abandon the lucrative career as a tax collector can only be seen as the final eruption heaved up from a volcano of anxiety and guilt that had been raging within him for months, maybe even years. Yes, he had been making money hand over fist, but there was a deep inner turmoil that had sapped him of the ability to enjoy his wealth and kept him up at night, bathed in a cold sweat. Many people live a public life of piety, while privately living like the devil. But it seems that Mattia was doing the exact opposite. His public life was an abomination to most. He was a trafe Jew of the worst kind, a traitor, a ruthless criminal, a licentious drunkard, and a glutton. But surprisingly, if we happened to sneak up and peek into his house at night, we would have found a man voraciously poring over the scriptures. It is apparent from his gospel that he had an extensive knowledge of the Tanakh. Notice all the passages where he skillfully establishes Jesus as the Mashiach. How else would he have learned of spiritual matters, if not alone or with his fellow outcasts? Which rabbi would study Torah with such a man? As a Levite, he had probably been raised in a religious household, but his formal education would have ceased the minute that he had decided to pursue a profession like tax collection. What an amazing irony, and how great that internal battle must have been. Until he could be shown otherwise, he would continue in this outward life of hardness and cynicism. He simply had too much to lose. Yet inwardly, behind the mask, was a man racked with questions, anguish, and fear. When he first caught sight of Jesus, Yeshua, maybe he had turned his eyes away, assuming that Christ, like the Pharisees, would point an accusing finger at him and declare, "Hear, O Israel, this man standing before you, he and everything he represents is what I have come to war against." Had he ever met another Jew, let alone a rabbi, who had treated him with any degree of compassion? Was he bracing himself for such an assault as Yeshua approached his tax booth? But his great, overwhelming fears were blown away with two simple words, spoken in kindness and love. "Follow me." In that moment, the shroud of darkness that had plagued his entire life was instantly thrown off. Yes, this was the one that he had been expecting, and thank God he had not rejected him. Mattia's overwhelming thankfulness was expressed in a magnificent banquet, with Yeshua attending as his most honored guest. He would have undoubtedly invited his fellow tax collectors and other unsavory types to join them. The compassion that Yeshua showed these men must have been an amazing revelation, not only to them, but the entire village. The reaction of the Pharisees is expected and logical. In their eyes, the rabbi was associating with the unclean, the tumah, thus making himself and his disciples, talmidim, ritually impure. His presence among them was an endorsement of their degenerate lifestyles and a slap in the face to every hard-working, pious Jew. Would this so-called Messiah also drink the cup of the sweat and blood of his fellow kinsmen? How could he enjoy feasting upon fine food and wine that had been derived from extortion? This would be one of the many incidents where Yeshua used his actions as a graphic illustration to send a shockwave through the body of the old way of thinking. His message and actions reflected the dawning of a new order, the arrival of an age of divine promise, compassion, gentleness, and hope. If Yeshua could not only forgive, but actually associate, eat, drink, and laugh with such immoral human beings, then one could begin to understand the great length and depth of his revolutionary message. And now looking at the panel of Mattia and some of the symbols that are there. The hidden Torah scroll. This symbolizes Mattia's secret life as a pious Jew. The tax collector's booth. This represents his career as a tax collector. The circular disc on the bottom left. This represents Mattia's great internal struggle. And that brings us to the end of this discussion about Matthew and another video about the Nazarene Cipher. If you're still here, I just wanted to thank you for spending your time with me. I appreciate that. And if you have any comments or questions about Matthew or anything to do with the Nazarene Cipher, please let me know in the comments section. I will be releasing one of these videos each and every week, so hit that bell icon so that you can be notified as soon as I upload it. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.